WrestleMania 33 is 25 days away. And there's a lot of matches made so far. Some that just got started, one that just got confirmed last night on SmackDown, and one that two of them actually technically still have a long way to go before we can actually predict an actual winner in them yet so far. But first off, let's go to one of those with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. This will be the first time that I can recall that, since there's a brand split, that it will be a cross-branded Battle Royal, as far as I am concerned. Because, there's a Raw and a SmackDown. Much like the Royal Rumble, you would expect to have 15... Well, it depends how many's in the Battle Royal, actually. If it's a 30-man Battle Royal, for example, say 15 SmackDown, 15 Raw. And they'll make up the 30 people in the Battle Royal. But we're not sure if it is a 30-man or a 40-man. Or last year, I don't even think we got to 30 men. We just had people in it. And then we had people like Shaq and Big Show and Mark Henry and stuff like that. As far as I know, for WrestleMania, there wasn't 30 people in there. Hell, we've got the Tonka on there last year. Fucking Buffalo over there. It was great, but kind of unexpected. And last year, we didn't even have a Raw or SmackDown person. We had an NXT guy, Baron Corbin, who is now on SmackDown since all that, win the Battle Royal last year. So I would think that Baron would be in there to defend his Battle Royal, unless he wants to go for the Intercontinental title, which is probably what's going to happen. But for right now, the Battle Royal is only 2 people so far. So for Battle Royal specifically, it's harder to predict a winner because, like I said, we don't know how people are actually going to be in this match. We just know that it could be a minimum of 30 or even lower than that. So first off, the 2 men in the Battle Royal so far. This does not mean they will win in the long run, but for right now, they're the only 2 in. So you can only talk from there, on that standpoint. First off, Apollo Crews. In the long run, he probably won't win the Battle Royal, but right now he has a good chance of winning it. If you want to build a new star, like you did with Baron Corbin last year, you have him win the Battle Royal, obviously. The same with Mojo Rawley, he's the final entrant so far in the Battle Royal. Plus, Zack Ryder's injured. So you could use this to push him singles-wise. I wouldn't think he would win the Battle Royal in the long run, but for right now, they're the only 2 in the Battle Royal. So, by default, they have the best chance of winning. But in the long run, I don't think they will. But for now, they have the best chance because obviously they're the only 2 people in the Battle Royal. Apollo Crews, by the way, announced his entry on Talking Smack, while Mojo Rawley announced his on SmackDown Live. There's clarification there. Excuse me. Next up, we have Alexa Bliss defending the title against basically the entire women's roster on SmackDown, with some exceptions. Of course, Naomi is injured with a knee injury. We don't know the extent on that. We don't know how long that's going to be. But we do know that that she is not able to compete. Another person who is probably not going to be there, but I will include her in this anyway, is Eva Marie. We haven't seen her since her suspension for, I believe it was Adderall, I'm not sure. It might have been some drug along that same line, basically with the wellness policy. I don't really talk about the wellness policy regularly, but, basically anything you could think of is on that policy, whether it's pharmaceutical drugs to stuff that might be in some supplements to the big stuff like weed, like heroin, steroids. And in wrestling, steroids in wrestling has been an ongoing thing over the years, but, the wellness policy, it also helps with their heart rate, overall well-being of a superstar. It's probably one of the most comprehensive wellness policies in sport or in entertainment, regardless of what you think of wrestling as a quote-unquote sport, as some people call it fake, like some people call fake news, but that's another story for another time. But with that, I mean, I honestly don't even remember what Eva was suspended for. It was probably, to be fair, someone who did sell shady supplements, I wouldn't be surprised that she got banned for what it might have been in those technical supplements. I believe it was Adderall, though. I'm not quite sure on what it exactly was, because it's been so long. I don't, you can't expect me to remember all this, but I will include her in this anyway because that could be a big return point for her. So for right now, the people that could be in the match potentially is, of course, the Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Eva Marie, I will include her in that, Mickie James. Naomi's injured, but, you never know. We don't know the extent of the injury, so she could make a comeback. I will include her just for that. Natalya, Nikki Bella, Tamina, who has been rumored to debut on SmackDown soon. That'd be a good place to bring her at WrestleMania. And technically Maurice, because she has been in action somewhat against Nikki Bella. But it depends. This is an interesting situation because, again, we don't know who's going to be in the match because Daniel Bryan specifically said all of the active women on the roster. That could change. We could see the rumored Miz, Maurice, Nikki Bella, Cena match, so they could be out of that. We could see, basically anything at this point. We don't know. But for the standpoint, I will just include all of them at this point. First off, Alexa Bliss, the champion. Normally I would have her retain it, since she just won the belt a couple weeks ago after Naomi's unfortunate injury. But with that being said, I don't know what the extent of the injury. Well, I'll get to that later. But with Alexa, if it was one-on-one or triple threat, you could see her retain. That'd be a done deal. But depending on who is in the match, she might drop the belt at WrestleMania. Next off, Becky Lynch. Again, we don't know who is all in the match, but we can probably think that Becky will be in it. Again, Becky's a former champion. I don't know if she would win it. Depending, again, who's in there, she'd be one of the frontrunners to win the title for sure, though. Carmella, depends what she has with Ellsworth at the time. Ellsworth and Carmella did face Cena and Nikki last time on SmackDown. So it depends on what's going on with her and Ellsworth. Again, probably is not going to win the belt, but could be a frontrunner for it depending on who is in the match. Eva Marie, we have not seen her in months. She has not competed in probably over a year. Maybe less than that, I'm not sure. But if you're going to put her in the match, then it would be a total dick move to have her win the belt. But if you want to have her more heat, that's a possible way of doing it. Mickie James, we had Mickie James there, and possibly there was a deal between Alexa. She clearly said on the microphone that they had a deal. But if anyone could win the belt, Mickey's a former women's champion. She could win the title. Naomi, again, we don't know the injury specifics. She could come back. If she does, she'll probably get the belt back. If not, then she's not going to be there. Natalya, again, one of the frontrunners for this. But I don't really know if they will put the belt on Natalya. I don't know if they will. Nikki Bella, that's going to be eventually, but they'll put the belt on her. Maybe at WrestleMania. But again, she might have a match, so we don't know for sure. Tamina, we haven't seen in months, especially with the unfortunate passing of her father, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. That could be something there, but we don't know for sure. And finally, Maurice, again, has not been in a match in years. But that would be a hell of a way to bring her back. But again, she might be in a match of her own very soon. And with that, we'll cut very quickly and go to the final match at WrestleMania.